Michael,
His father's voice thundered.
leave that girl. She is a child of nobody. And if you have chosen to bring shame to this family, I will first disown you. From today, you are cut off from the company and your bank accounts are frozen.
Michael's eyes burned with tears, but his voice was firm.
Then so be it, Daddy. I will not leave Sarah.
Stay tuned for this emotional story of love, betrayal, and family conflict. You won't believe what happens next.
Michael was a young, handsome billionaire in Lagos. He was tall, dark, with a neat beard that always made women turn their heads. He had everything: wealth, cars, mansions, and respect. But one thing he didn't have was peace in his heart. Every woman that came close to him only wanted his money. They pretended to love him, but deep down, he knew it was all about his wealth. One evening, he sat alone by the balcony of his Lekki mansion. The city lights glittered, but his heart felt empty. His best friend, David, walked in. "Michael, why do you look so worried?" "You have what every man is praying for," David said. Michael sighed deeply. "David, I'm tired. I don't want a woman who loves me for my money. I want true love, real love. A woman who will see me as a man, not a wallet." David laughed. "And how do you want to test that?" That night, Michael made a strange decision. He called his driver and asked for one of his old cars, a battered Toyota Corolla that he once bought for staff use. He also took plain shirts and jeans from his wardrobe, instead of his usual expensive suits. From the next morning, Michael became a taxi driver. He registered under a local taxi-hailing app and started picking passengers around Lagos. Nobody recognized him because he wore a simple cap, face mask, and drove like an ordinary hustler. But Michael wasn't just driving aimlessly. He was waiting for destiny to connect him with the woman who would love him for who he was, not what he had. It was a hot afternoon in Surulere. Michael parked under a tree, wiping sweat from his face. His phone beeped, new ride request. The passenger's name was Sarah. When she entered the car, Michael froze for a moment. Sarah was a beautiful young woman, dressed modestly in a plain gown. She wasn't wearing heavy makeup or flashy jewelry. Instead, she carried a small nylon bag of bread she was going to deliver to a shop. "Good afternoon, sir," she greeted politely as she sat at the back. "Good afternoon. Where are you going?" Michael asked, trying to keep his voice firm. "To Yaba Market, please." As they drove, Michael looked at her through the mirror. Unlike other ladies he had picked, she didn't complain about the car being too hot, nor did she frown because the car wasn't luxury. Instead, she hummed a gospel song softly and smiled like someone content with life. At Yaba, Sarah brought out money. "How much is the fare?" $1,200, Michael replied. She counted exact change and gave it to him. Then she paused, smiled, and said, "Thank you, sir. God bless your hustle." That simple statement struck Michael's heart. For the first time in years, someone looked at him not as a rich man, not as a provider, but as a normal hustler, and still respected him. He watched her walk away into the busy market. Something told him this was only the beginning. Days passed, then weeks. Somehow, Michael kept meeting Sarah. Each time she booked his taxi, he secretly thanked God. Soon, it was no longer about the rides. He would wait around her street just to pick her up. Sarah was different. She never asked him for money. She never complained about his old car. Sometimes, she even offered to buy him food from the small shop where she worked. One evening, as they sat inside the taxi after a ride, Sarah spoke softly. "Michael, you're different from other drivers. You listen. You care. You even encourage me. But tell me, why do you still drive this old taxi? You're too educated and smart for this." Michael's heart beat faster. For weeks, he had carried a heavy secret. He looked into her eyes and said quietly, "Sarah, there's something you don't know about me. I'm not who you think I am. Sarah frowned. What do you mean? I'm not just a taxi driver. I'm a billionaire. Sarah blinked in shock. She thought it was a joke, but Michael's face was serious. She covered her mouth with her hand. A billionaire? You? But you drive like every normal hustler on the street. Michael smiled faintly. That was the only way I could find someone real. Someone who loves me for me, not for my money. And Sarah, that person is you. Sarah was speechless. Tears welled up in her eyes. Michael, you mean all this while? Yes, he said, taking her hand gently. And now, I want to take you to meet my parents. Because I am serious about you. A week later, Michael drove Sarah in his real car this time, a sleek black Range Rover, to his parents' mansion in Ikoyi. Sarah wore her best gown, though it was simple compared to the designer clothes of Michael's world. She looked nervous, holding his hand tightly. Mr. and Mrs. Clinton Okafor were already waiting in the grand living room. His father was a tall, stern-looking man in a navy blue kaftan. His mother was elegant, dripping with jewelry. Daddy, Mummy, Michael began with a smile. This is Sarah, the woman I love. Sarah bent politely and greeted. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Ma. But the smile on Mr. and Mrs. Okafor's faces disappeared quickly. His mother whispered sharply, Michael, can we talk privately? Minutes later, in the study, his father folded his arms. Michael, what is this? This girl, she is not our class. She is not from a known family. How can the son of Clinton Okafor marry a bread seller's daughter? Michael's face hardened. Daddy, she is not after my money. She didn't even know I was rich. She loves me for who I am. Isn't that what matters? His mother shook her head. Love is not enough, Michael. Marriage is about building family relationships, connections, influence. We cannot allow you to bring someone like her into this family. Michael's heart pounded in anger. So to you, influence is more important than my happiness. His father raised his voice. You will thank us later. We know what is best for you. Michael clenched his fists. Sarah stood quietly at the corner, tears filling her eyes. She felt unwanted, small, and ashamed. Finally, Michael snapped. If you cannot see the value of the woman I love, then I am leaving. I don't need your approval. He walked out, holding Sarah's hand firmly. His parents called after him, but he didn't turn back. For the first time in his life, Michael stood against them, not for money, not for business, but for love. As they drove away, Sarah whispered, Michael, maybe they are right. Maybe I don't belong in your world. Michael stopped the car and turned to her with fire in his eyes. Sarah, you belong with me. I don't care what anyone says. I choose you. Sarah broke down in tears. For the first time, she truly believed his love was real. 1 week later, Michael was seated in his mansion's study room, staring at the city lights through the wide glass window. His phone began to ring. It was his father. Slowly, he picked it up. Michael. Michael's father's voice was stern. I have spoken with your mother, and we both agree you must leave that girl. Sarah is a child of nobody. She has no name, no background, no value in society. If you continue with her, you will drag our family's name in the mud. Michael swallowed hard, his grip on the phone tightening. Daddy, Sarah may not be from a big family, but she has what money cannot buy. She has a good heart. She loves me for me. Mr. Clinton's tone rose in anger. Michael, don't be foolish. If you want to disgrace this family, then I will disgrace you first. From today, you are cut off from the company. I have frozen all your bank accounts. From now on, you will have nothing unless you obey me. Michael sat in silence. His father's harsh words burned through him, but his decision didn't change. Then so be it, Daddy, he finally said, his voice calm but firm. I would rather suffer with Sarah than live rich without her. And with that, he hung up. The next day, Michael left his mansion and moved into Sarah's tiny one-room apartment in Mushin. The difference was night and day. Gone were the marble floors, the chandeliers, and the soft leather couches. Now, he shared a small wooden bed with Sarah, a shaky ceiling fan overhead, and neighbors who played loud music at night. Sarah was already used to such a life. She smiled and managed things well, cooking beans and Gary with joy. But Michael was new to it. Still, he never complained. Instead, he woke up every morning, kissed Sarah on the forehead, and went out to look for daily jobs. Within days, he started working as a laborer at a construction site. He carried cement bags, mixed sand, and worked under the hot sun. By evening, he came home drenched in sweat, his body aching all over. But every time Sarah tried to apologize, he would smile weakly. Sarah, don't worry about me. As long as I am with you, I am happy. This is nothing compared to losing you. But inside her heart, Sarah wept silently. She hated seeing him like this, bent, tired, his soft hands now rough with blisters. She blamed herself, thinking, if not for me, Michael would still be living like the prince he is. One night, when Michael came back with his clothes dusty and his steps heavy, Sarah watched him collapse on the bed. She quietly turned her face to the wall and cried, biting her lips so he wouldn't hear. After some weeks, Sarah couldn't hold it anymore. One evening, as Michael washed his face after work, Sarah broke down in tears. Michael, please. I can't continue watching you suffer like this. You're not used to this life. This is killing me inside. Please, go back to your parents. Forget about me. Michael dropped the towel and rushed to hold her. Sarah, don't say that. I told you, I'll be with you till the end. I don't care about the money, or the company, or influence. You are my everything. But Sarah shook her head, crying harder. No, Michael. I love you too much to see you like this. If going back to your family will bring back your joy, then please, do it. Even if it means losing me. Michael's heart shattered. He had never seen Sarah this broken. Her tears pierced his soul. He hugged her tightly, whispering, don't make me choose between you and them. But Sarah, trembling, insisted, go, Michael. Be happy. I'll be fine. Unable to bear her pain, Michael finally agreed. The next morning, he left for his parents' mansion. When Michael walked into his parents' living room, they were seated grandly, smiling proudly, as though they had won. His mother rushed to hug him. My son, I knew you would come back to your senses. But Michael didn't smile. He only knelt slightly and said, Daddy, Mummy, please forgive me. Mr. Clinton leaned forward in his chair. I will forgive you, Michael. But on one condition. You must marry Bella, my best friend's daughter. Michael's chest tightened. He knew Bella very well. She was beautiful, yes, but arrogant, selfish, and obsessed with wealth. She was everything Sarah was not. Daddy, Michael said softly, Bella is not the kind of wife I want. She doesn't have the values I desire. I cannot marry her. Go and rest, Michael. His father cut him off. Think about it. That is the only way you can be reinstated to your position. The next day, Michael couldn't bear it anymore. He drove back to Sarah's small home. She welcomed him with her warm smile, though her eyes were swollen from crying. Michael sat down, his face pale. Sarah, my father wants me to marry Bella. He says that's the only way to return to the family. Sarah froze. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then she forced a faint smile, though her tears betrayed her heart. Michael, she said softly, maybe your parents are right. Maybe love is not enough after all. You should listen to them. I will be happy knowing you are happy, even if it's not with me. Michael shook his head violently. No, Sarah. Don't say that. You are the only one I want. Don't push me away. But Sarah touched his face gently, her tears dropping. Michael, please, do this for yourself. Do this for your family. You have my blessings. Michael felt like the ground had opened beneath him. For the first time in his life, he broke down crying like a child. Sarah, you are my life. How do I live without you? When he finally left her house, Sarah fell to the floor, crying uncontrollably. Her chest felt like it was tearing apart. She loved him more than life itself, but if letting him go was the only way to save him, then she was ready to break her own heart. 3 weeks later, the wedding bells rang loudly in Lagos. Michael and Bella's wedding was the talk of the city. It was grand, luxurious, and extravagant, exactly the way Bella wanted. Expensive flowers decorated the hall, golden chandeliers shone brightly, and influential men of society filled the seats, governors, senators, billionaires, and powerful business tycoons. Michael wore a fine suit, his face handsome, but his heart heavy. Bella, in her diamond-studded gown, smiled proudly as cameras flashed on her. She loved the attention, the glamour, the wealth, and the fame. But Michael, even as he held her hand at the altar, his mind kept drifting to Sarah. After the ceremony, Michael quietly told his father, "Daddy, I want to move into my own house with Bella." But Mr. Clinton shook his head. "No, stay here in the family mansion. It is safer, and besides, you and Bella will have all the servants you need." Bella immediately agreed. "Yes, Daddy. That's perfect. I don't like stress." Michael said nothing. He only nodded. Inside, he knew he had just walked deeper into a prison of his father's making. Weeks into the marriage, Michael and Bella's differences became clearer. Bella knew nothing about responsibility. Her days were spent shopping, attending parties, and spending money on useless things. She had no care for Michael's emotions. Meanwhile, Michael often found himself in the mansion's garden, sitting quietly under a tree, staring at the sky. He thought about Sarah every day. He wondered where she was, how she was living, and whether she still thought about him. Many nights, he sat outside, fighting tears. "Sarah, are you okay?" Mrs. Okafor had also started noticing Bella's true colors. One afternoon, she called Bella to the kitchen. "Bella, please help me wash these vegetables. We'll cook dinner together today," she said softly. But Bella frowned, rolling her eyes. "Mommy, I can't. My nails are new. And besides, why do we have maids if I should do this?" Mrs. Okafor watched her in shock. For the first time, she realized her husband had made a mistake. Far away in Sarah's small rented apartment, life was changing too. She had just returned from the hospital. The doctor's words echoed in her ears. "Congratulations, Miss Sarah. You are pregnant. And from the scan, it's a healthy baby." Sarah sat on her bed that night, her hands on her stomach. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "This is Michael's child, but what do I do now?" She thought of telling him, but fear consumed her. She pictured Michael running back to her, leaving his family, and chaos breaking out everywhere. She didn't want to be the reason his life collapsed further. She wiped her tears and whispered to her unborn child, "I will carry this alone. God will help us." A few days later, Mr. Okafor hosted a small but important gathering. Some of his top business partners were invited. He wanted everything to be perfect. Mrs. Okafor saw this as the right time to expose Bella's true character to her husband. "Bella," she said that morning, "you will cook for the guests today. I want your husband and father-in-law to see your skills." Bella's eyes widened. "Me? Cook? Mummy, I've never even boiled rice before." Mrs. Okafor smiled faintly. "You'll be fine. All the maids are busy. Do it yourself." She had already instructed the maids not to help Bella. Bella entered the kitchen, confused and panicking. She picked up her phone, searched online, and decided to make soup. She saw a bottle of beer in the fridge and thought it would make the flavor stronger. By the time she was done, the kitchen looked like a war zone, pot stained, oil on the floor, and soup that smelled strange. During dinner, the guests sat around the long dining table. Bella, smiling nervously, served them her special soup. One by one, the guests tasted it. Their faces twisted in disgust. The strong taste of alcohol filled their mouths. Some quietly spat it out, others dropped their spoons, coughing. "I think I've lost my appetite," one senator said. Another businessman pushed his plate away. Soon, one after another, they excused themselves and left the house. Mr. Okafor was embarrassed. "What is this nonsense?" he shouted after the guests had gone. Furious, he called for the maids, ready to sack the one who had cooked. But Mrs. Okafor stood boldly. It wasn't the maids. It was Bella. Mr. Okafor's face froze. His heart sank. For the first time, he realized the truth. The woman he forced on his son was nothing but a liability. From that day, Mr. Okafor started to lose patience with Bella. Her arrogance, her laziness, her lack of home training, he could no longer ignore them. Meanwhile, Michael grew more and more distant. He avoided Bella, spending long hours in the garden, drowning in memories of Sarah. One evening, Michael finally made up his mind. He had to see her again. He drove to her old apartment in Mushin. But when he got there, he was shocked. Sarah had moved out. None of the neighbors knew where she had gone. Michael stood there, feeling lost and broken. "Sarah, where are you? Don't leave me like this," he whispered, his eyes wet. For the first time in years, the billionaire felt helpless. Meanwhile, Sarah was now staying with her childhood friend Cynthia in a small flat. Cynthia often scolded her. "Sarah, why haven't you told Michael about the pregnancy? He deserves to know. That's his child, not just yours. He should be the one taking care of you right now." But Sarah shook her head, her eyes red with tears. "No, Cynthia. If Michael knows, he will leave his family. It will bring more shame, more fighting. I don't want to ruin his life. I will suffer alone. God will see me through." Cynthia sighed, hugging her. "You are too selfless, Sarah. But one day, the truth will come out. And when it does, it may be too late." Sarah placed her hands on her stomach, whispering, "My child, you are all I have now. I will protect you, even if it breaks me." The silence in Michael's marriage had grown louder with each passing day. He and Bella lived under the same roof, yet they were worlds apart. They hardly spoke, they never shared meals, and when their eyes met, it was only with coldness. One quiet evening, Bella walked into the garden where Michael sat, his face buried in his hands. Her heels clicked angrily on the tiled floor. "Michael," she snapped, her voice trembling with anger, "what exactly is going on? Why are you so distant from me? Why won't you give us a chance? Do you want the whole world to laugh at me, that I married a man who doesn't even look at me?" Michael lifted his eyes slowly. His face was calm but heavy with sorrow. He sighed deeply before speaking. "Bella, I can't lie to you anymore. I don't have feelings for you. My heart belongs to someone else. Forcing myself to pretend will only hurt both of us. It will be better if you go back to your father's house." Bella froze. The words hit her like a thunderbolt. For a moment, she just stared, her pride crumbling into pieces. Shame and anger boiled inside her. "You dare say that to me?" she shouted. "Do you know what people will think of me? That I was rejected in my own marriage? That Bella, the daughter of Mr. Douglas, was thrown out of her husband's house? Never." Her eyes burned with rage, and she stormed inside, her mind already made up. The very next morning, Bella ran to her father. Tears rolled down her face as she told him everything, twisting the story to make Michael look like the villain. "Daddy, he humiliated me. He said he doesn't love me. He asked me to leave the mansion. Daddy, I can't take this disgrace." Mr. Douglas, a proud, influential businessman, slammed his hand on the table. His face turned red with fury. "What nonsense! How dare he treat my daughter this way? Michael will regret this. If his father thinks he can play with us, he's mistaken." Without wasting time, Mr. Douglas stormed into Mr. Clinton's office that same afternoon. He didn't even sit down or exchange greetings. "Clinton, what is this insult your son has thrown at my daughter?" he thundered. "He told Bella to pack her things and leave. Do you know the shame this will bring to me, to my family? My daughter is not a toy." Mr. Clinton tried to calm him. "Douglas, please, let's settle this with wisdom." But Mr. Douglas cut him off, his voice shaking with anger. "Wisdom? Don't preach wisdom to me, Clinton. If your son dares disgrace my daughter again, I will pull out every single kobo I have invested in your company. And you know what that means. Years of partnership, gone. Your empire will shake to its foundation." Mr. Clinton's face went pale. He knew Douglas was not bluffing. Losing his investments would be catastrophic for their business. "Douglas, please," he said quickly, raising his hands. "Calm down. I apologize on Michael's behalf. I promise you, I'll make this right. Bella will never face that humiliation again." Mr. Douglas stormed out without another word, leaving a trail of tension behind. That evening, Mr. Clinton came home angry and frustrated. He found Michael sitting in the garden as usual, lost in thought. "Michael," his father barked, his voice echoing through the compound. Michael stood slowly. "Yes, Daddy." "What nonsense did you tell Bella? That she should leave this house? Have you lost your mind?" Michael's eyes filled with quiet pain. "Daddy, I told her the truth. I don't love her. Keeping her here is like keeping two strangers under the same roof. It's torture for both of us." Mr. Clinton stepped closer, pointing a finger in his son's face. "Listen to me, Michael. This marriage is not just about you. It is for the good of this family, for our business, for our name. You cannot disgrace us. You cannot destroy what I have built with my sweat." Michael's chest rose and fell. He clenched his fist to hold back his anger. "So my happiness means nothing to you? My heart, my peace, my love, none of it matters." His father's voice softened but remained firm. "Sometimes, sacrifice is the price of greatness. You must learn to carry the family's cross." Michael turned away, his eyes glistening with tears. He couldn't argue anymore. He felt trapped between his heart and his family. That night, as he lay in bed, Bella asleep beside him, his mind wandered back to Sarah. "Where are you, Sarah?" he thought. "Do you even know how much I miss you?" Meanwhile, in Cynthia's small flat, Sarah sat quietly on the bed, rubbing her stomach. Her pregnancy was beginning to show. Cynthia watched her with concern. "Sarah, you can't keep this up. Michael deserves to know about his child. He's out there suffering in a loveless marriage while you hide his baby from him." Sarah shook her head, her eyes swollen from crying. "No, Cynthia. If he knows, he'll come back for me. And that will bring chaos. His father will fight him. His family will crumble. I can't put that on him. I'd rather suffer alone." She broke down, burying her face in her hands. "It hurts so much. Every day, I miss him. But I must let him go, for his sake." Cynthia hugged her tightly. "You're too selfless, Sarah. But one day, this secret will break everything wide open." Sarah whispered to her unborn child, "My little one, you are the only piece of him I have left. I'll protect you with my life." It was a sunny Saturday morning when Mrs. Okafor decided to do something she hadn't done in a long while, go to the market by herself. She loved the feeling of blending into the crowd, buying fresh vegetables, and being away from the endless drama of the mansion. As she strolled past the busy stalls, she suddenly froze. Not too far away, she saw a heavily pregnant woman struggling with a basket of tomatoes. Her clothes were old. Her hair looked untidy, yet there was something familiar about her face. Mrs. Okafor's heart skipped. She walked closer. "Sarah," she whispered. Sarah turned, shocked. Her eyes widened, and shame rushed to her face. She tried to smile, but tears welled up instead. "Good afternoon, Ma," Sarah said softly, her voice trembling. For a moment, Mrs. Okafor couldn't speak. Regret pierced her heart. She remembered how she had supported her husband in rejecting Sarah, how she had stood silently while her son was pushed into a loveless marriage with Bella. And now, here was Sarah, alone, pregnant, and unkept. "Sarah," she whispered, tears filling her eyes, "please forgive me. Forgive me for everything I put you through. If only I had supported my son, maybe things wouldn't have turned out this way." Sarah smiled faintly, wiping her tears. "Mama, I forgave you a long time ago. I don't hold grudges. Life is too short for that." Mrs. Okafor sighed in relief. "At least, I'm glad you moved on. I can see you're married now and expecting a child." Sarah's smile faded. She shook her head. "No, Ma, I'm not married. The father of my unborn children is Michael. I am carrying his twins." The ground seemed to shift under Mrs. Okafor's feet. "Twins," she gasped, clutching her chest. "Oh my God. Michael's children? A boy and a girl?" "Yes," Sarah nodded slowly. For the first time in years, Mrs. Okafor felt both guilt and joy. Guilt for the pain she had caused Sarah, but joy knowing she would soon be a grandmother. She held Sarah's hands tightly. "Come with me. I can't let you live like this. Please, let me take you home." Mrs. Okafor drove Sarah to her house. The moment they arrived, her heart broke again. The roof was leaking, the walls cracked, the place was barely livable. Tears filled her eyes. "You cannot raise my grandchildren here," she said firmly. Without wasting time, she drove Sarah to one of the family's mansions in Ikoyi, a beautiful, furnished house with security and comfort. Sarah's mouth dropped in shock when she stepped inside. "Mama, this is too much." "No," Mrs. Okafor smiled warmly. "This is your new home. You will give birth to my grandchildren here. Safe, comfortable." She arranged for a maid to stay with Sarah, brought a car and a driver for her, and handed Sarah her personal phone number. "Call me anytime, for anything. You are family now." Sarah broke into tears, hugging her. "Thank you, Mama. God bless you." That night, Mrs. Okafor returned home with a joy she hadn't felt in years. She didn't tell her husband or Michael. Instead, she carried her secret happily. Weeks passed. Every time Mrs. Okafor visited Sarah, she returned home smiling, glowing with happiness. Michael noticed the change. "Mama, you always look cheerful these days," he said one evening. "What's going on?" She only smiled faintly. "Nothing, my son. I just decided to live in peace and happiness." Michael wasn't convinced, but he let it go. Then one morning, her phone rang. It was Sarah. Her voice was weak but filled with joy. "Mama, I have given birth, twins, a boy and a girl." Mrs. Okafor's heart leapt. She rushed to the sitting room where Michael was watching a football match. "Michael, come with me. We're going to see a friend of mine in the hospital." Reluctantly, Michael agreed. But when they walked into the ward and he saw Sarah on the bed, cradling two babies in her arms, his world stopped. His heart skipped violently. "Sarah," he whispered, tears blurring his eyes. Sarah looked at him, smiling through her exhaustion. Michael, come and meet your children. Michael dropped to his knees beside the bed, sobbing as he held his son and daughter for the first time. Oh God, thank you. My babies. Mrs. Okafor laughed through her tears. This boy's nose looks exactly like yours, Michael. For the first time in years, Michael felt peace. He had Sarah back in his arms, and he was a father. Together, they took Sarah and the babies back to her mansion. From that day, Michael and his mother visited almost daily. One Sunday afternoon, Mrs. Okafor insisted her husband follow her to go see her sister that just came back to the country. Mr. Okafor grumbled at first, claiming he was busy with his newspapers. But after much pressure, he followed them. When they arrived and Sarah brought out the twins, placing them in his arms, the old man froze. His lips trembled. Twins, he whispered, staring at the babies. Michael gave me grandchildren. Twins? I always prayed for twins. Tears rolled down his cheeks. For the first time in his life, the hard-hearted man melted. He looked at Sarah, ashamed. My daughter, forgive me. Forgive me for the pain I caused you. Forgive me for not letting my son marry the woman of his heart. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Papa, I forgive you. From that day, Mr. Okafor changed. Almost every weekend, he and his wife visited Sarah's mansion to spend time with the twins. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. Bella noticed the sudden closeness between Michael and his parents. She noticed how they often went out together but never told her where. Suspicion grew in her heart. One evening, she cornered Peter, the chief security officer of the mansion. Peter, she hissed, tell me where they always go. I know you know. Speak, or you'll regret it. Peter shook his head nervously. Madam, Ogre Michael warned me never to say a word. But Bella pushed, threatened, and finally, Peter broke. He told her everything, about Sarah, about the twins, about the visits. Bella's face turned red with rage. So this is what they've been hiding from me? Michael has children with that woman. She stormed into her room and called her father. Daddy, you won't believe it. Michael and his parents have been going to see that woman who gave birth to his children. They've been deceiving us all this time. Mr. Douglas was furious. He wasted no time calling Mr. Okafor. Clinton, what nonsense am I hearing? Your son abandoned my daughter and is parading another woman with children. You are bringing shame to my family. But this time, Mr. Okafor's voice was steady. Douglas, enough. I don't care anymore. My son's happiness is what matters now. Pull out your investments if you want. Do whatever you like. My grandchildren are my only concern. Mr. Douglas was stunned. For the first time, he realized he had no more power over the Okafors. That evening, Mr. Okafor walked into the mansion, his face hard. He went straight to Bella's room, where she was pacing angrily. Bella, he said coldly, pack your things. You are leaving this house. We will return your bride price to your father. My son is no longer interested. Bella's mouth fell open. What? You can't do this to me. Do you know who I am? But her protests fell on deaf ears. That night, Bella left the mansion in shame, her pride shattered. For the first time in a long while, the Okafor family felt peace. From this emotional story, we have come to understand that true love is priceless. It cannot be bought with money or influence. Parents should listen to their children's hearts. Forcing them into loveless marriages brings sorrow. Happiness in marriage comes from love and respect, not wealth or social status. So do you think Michael's parents were right to interfere in his choice of love? Should Sarah have told Michael about the pregnancy earlier, or was she right to keep it secret? Tell us in the comments section. I want to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this emotional story. If this touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos.